talking about something that's really frustrating, and that is the comments you get while owning, I guess, different pets, and kind of how harsh they can be. And forgive Tesla's been there. I was getting ready to clean it and then remembered I fed him yesterday, so he's a little messy. But I'm talking about the comments, and the reason why I'm bringing this up is there was a comment made to me a couple days ago about my snakes that kind of triggered everything into making this video, and it doesn't pertain just to snakes. It's also to other animals like tarantulas, because I've gotten a lot of flack for them as well. The comment was made to me, and I don't think the person thought it out all the way, was that they were going to take a sledgehammer to one of my snakes. And simply because they just didn't care for him, they don't like snakes, they don't like tarantulas. And the comment kind of put me off, and it really upset me. And I know I really shouldn't let it, but it's one of the things you experience in owning, I guess, different types of pets versus like your typical cat or dog. And I've gotten a lot of comments on it from my family, from my friends, from coworkers. And it's one of those things that coming into the hobby, I really didn't expect. I expected the comments, but not to the degree that they are. And I kind of wanted to let everybody know that you need to kind of brace yourself when you're telling friends and family. And it isn't something you should hide. You should be proud that you own these animals, but at the same time, expect to get the flack from them. Now, with owning these animals comes a huge stigma. You know, you've got movies out there like anacondas and arachnophobia, so there's this general, like, fear of them, and I feel like a lot of the time, it's a misunderstood fear. You know, I was originally afraid of spiders. I was terrified of them. And I actually got into the hobby to overcome that. But a lot of people, they don't do that. And so there is this huge stigma. And when getting into these animals, you're going to experience things like that. You're going to post pictures on Facebook and other social media. And people are going to comment, squish it, kill it with fire, burn your house to the ground, I would stomp on it. And these comments, I don't think people realize how hurtful they really are. Like, these animals are our pets. They're no different than us keeping a cat or a dog. And it hurts and it's painful. And it's rather difficult to kind of address them when they happen without getting angry, without getting upset. So I'm going to go over basically my 5 most common comments that I've received personally. And the first one doesn't really bother me, but I get it pretty frequently, and that's the comment, well, I'm not coming over, or I'm not coming to your house, or I guess I'm never, hanging out with you there. And this comment really doesn't bother me. It's just more so that it's a frequent comment. It does happen pretty often when I am talking to people about my pets. And it's one of those things like, okay, I guess, if I ever have a barbecue or something, I'm not going to invite you, even though I do keep my spiders and my reptiles in a completely separate part of my house, away from most people where they would see they're in my room. A next comment I have received is the whole squish it, and I've seen this posted on my friends' Facebook pages where they've got reptiles as well, or spiders mainly, and they're like, I would squish it. Or I dare you to squish it. And this comment aggravates me, and it's a whole because it's such a violent comment. And the reason why to me it's so violent is because I wouldn't go to somebody's house, or most people wouldn't go to your house and tell you, I would squish your dog, or I dare you to squish your cat, or I dare you to squish your bunny. And this comment, I would have to say, is pretty common as well. I see it a lot on my friends, like I said, my friends' Facebook pages where they'll post pictures and people will comment, or, you'll be in a social forum and the topic of pets comes up and people will say it. My next comment is, that's gross, / aren't you worried it's going to kill your dog? And this comment, again, it's not so much upsetting as it is frustrating. I keep ball pythons for my snakes and Kenyan sand boas. Obviously, they're not going to get very big, maybe 6 feet at max. And my dog is a 65-pound Australian Shepherd. There is no way that it's going to kill my dog or eat my dog or try to or even think about it. And as far as my spiders go, that is way too big of something to eat. They're not going to show interest either. I also keep my spiders pretty confidently, so I know that they're not going to escape at any point. They're pretty secure in their enclosures. But this is one that, you know, the whole gross thing, going back to the whole stigma that spiders and snakes are gross. So that one's kind of aggravating. It's like, well, aren't you afraid your dog is going to, you know, eat you in your sleep, or your cat's going to try to smother you in your sleep? It's kind of the same idea. My fourth comment is the whole burn your house down. And you can go and there's memes of this where people are posting like this house on fire and this little girl standing up front and it says there was a spider in there and the house is on fire. I feel like that's kind of where this comment stems from. That, and again, the fear and the stigma behind owning spiders, that they're creepy crawly, they're gross, they're disturbing, you know, they're pests, etc., etc. And the whole burn your house down is a comment that I see more on like friends pages who are starting to get into tarantulas, and people are making that comment to them about their pets. And this to me is a little extra. Obviously, if you feel the need to burn your house down because of a tiny spider, that's pretty extensive. And this comment itself is just, it's one of the ones you just kind of have to roll your eyes to, obviously. Because it's unneeded and a little out there. But again, it's a comment that does happen. I do see it happen. And that brings me to my fifth comment, which is, how can you endanger your family like that? Or why would you endanger your family like that? And this comment, it's frustrating. It's upsetting. And I actually had a friend who was threatened with Child Protective Services because she owned tarantulas, and the person felt that they were a threat to her children. And this comment is insulting coming from a parent's point of view, because it's like, I would never intentionally harm my children. You know, a lot of people are keepers, a lot of people are parents who are keepers, and none of them would intentionally put their child in harm's way. They would never risk their child's life in any manner. And therefore, they either keep them pretty confidently, like away from their kids, obviously, like on shelving or in a completely different room where it's locked and the child doesn't have access to it. And that's kind of what I do. I keep my spiders, they're all shelving way far above my child's reach. And I'm always supervising them when they're in here. They've never shown interest in trying to reach for them, but if they did, they still couldn't because, again, it's far above their reach. And this is a comment that I feel like a lot of parents can get who are keepers, and it's insulting in itself. And it's a comment, again, like everything else that does happen, and it's something you kind of have to brace yourself for. That basically concludes this video on comments that you may get, and kind of my top 5 most common comments that I've seen or experienced. And your comments that you know people may make to you may be different, or they may be the same. But let me know in the comments down below if you've ever had a negative comment in keeping these animals. And remember to like and subscribe to my channel to stay updated with upcoming videos.